Hi everyone. So I've decided to video journal this whole experience for myself to have something to look back on. Um, but also I wanted to do a video just to kind of give everyone an update because so many people have reached out and inquired and have genuinely expressed um, concern. So I just wanted to give everyone an update as well. So obviously I am still in this hospital doing this whole bed rest thing. Um, as transparent as I am, when this all first started, I really had no intention of talking about it on social media at all. At least I didn't want to talk about it while I was still in the midst of it. I wanted to wait till I got completely through it to kind of say, hey, this is what was going on, but everything's okay now, and here I am. And part of the reason for that was, on one hand, I was just absolutely terrified. And until I got myself comfortable, or at least at peace, I didn't know if I could deal with whatever may come with, just being open and talking about it. But then, of course, Justin posted about it on his Facebook page, and so many people reached out to me, and I'm glad he did put it on Facebook like that, because the outpouring of support, I promised myself I would not get emotional, but the outpouring of support and genuine concern from so many people I never expected, people I never even thought paid attention. So many people reached out, and it really, really helped me to get through that first week. And it gave me a lot of peace because so many different women were sharing their stories. And one of the reasons lately, if you've noticed lately, I've been a lot more transparent on social media, just about my experiences and about life in general. And part of the reason for that is because I've learned how powerful your story is, how powerful your personal testimony is. There's so much healing and inspiration that takes place when, especially as women, when a woman reaches out to another woman and says, look, this is what I went through, this is what I've been through, this is what I'm going through. I'm making it, I made it, and so can you. There's such a healing that happens, and I feel like it's so important, and that's something that I've been coming to terms, or I won't say coming to terms with, but something that I've learned, a constant lesson that I've been learning over the past year or two. Because at one point in my life, I was absolutely embarrassed or ashamed of my history, and I felt like somehow it made me less than other people. So I got to a point in my life where I just stopped talking about my past and talking about the things that have made me who I am today, until someone reminded me to never ever feel guilty, ashamed, or allow other people to make you feel guilty or ashamed or embarrassed or bully you into not sharing your story. And I know that is me going off on a tangent, but for those of you who have reached out to me and shared your stories, you understand. So here I am now talking about it. So I know y'all are like, okay, Ebony, whatever, what's going on? So a couple Saturdays ago, this was the week of me and Ava's birthday. It was Saturday morning. We were getting ready for her birthday party that day, and I woke up and I was bleeding, just like that. And bleeding in pregnancy is never a good thing. It's not something you ever want to see, especially when you're still in your second trimester. So, of course, I let Justin know he was out preparing for the party. called Justin. I called one of my best friends, Anita, and I was just in a panic. And I'm like, what should I do? Where should I go? I couldn't even think. And she was like, girl, if you need me to come to Charlotte, I could come to a hospital with you, but she's in Spartanburg. And I'm like, no, you don't have to do that. I'll make it. I'll be okay. Went to a hospital. They monitored me. I wasn't having any cramps or contractions. By this time, the bleeding, there was no active blood flow. So they kept me for a couple of hours and they let me go. I was an emotional wreck. Besides the fact of what was going on, it was also Ava's birthday party. And I felt like I needed to be there. So they let me go. I make it in time to get to her birthday party. And within like 30 minutes of being at her party, I start bleeding again. And I go back to the hospital, and this time they admit me. So this was a few Saturdays ago, and they kept me for 5 days. So from Saturday to Thursday, I was there, and they let me go home on Thursday. By Friday, or by the very next Saturday, so I was home Friday, no problems. Saturday morning, it was like deja vu, almost to the minute. Woke up, bleeding again. Had I not, but I wasn't having any type of cramps or contractions. I just happened to wake up to go to the bathroom and realized I was having some more blood issues. So that's what brought me back to the hospital a second time, and why I am here now. So the good thing is, Brandon's fine, I'm fine. I don't have any signs of pending labor. I don't have any cramps. I have no contractions. All of my tests have come back perfectly normal. Brandon and all his scans, he's extremely active. He's not showing any signs of distress. But I do have MRSA now. Somehow, between these 2 hospital visits, I have managed to contract the MRSA bacteria. So I don't have any open wounds or staph and active infections, but apparently I tested positive for MRSA, which I'm sure I got while I've been here. So every time my doctors and nurses come in, they have to come in these full contamination suits. But whatever, that's besides the point. So everything is fine. Even on my ultrasounds, I've probably had 5 ultrasounds in the last 2 weeks. They're not able to find the source of the bleeding. But apparently, or as it would go, no matter what, they know that it's a indication that my placenta has separated some way, somewhere, whether it's going to lead to a major abruption or it will just kind of self-heal, if you will, and the rest of my pregnancy will be uneventful. They can't say. So because of that, they have said that I have to stay in this hospital on pretty much bed rest for at least 2 weeks. And as long as I don't have any other bleeding episodes, no bleeding whatsoever, for 2 consecutive weeks, then they'll be able to release me. But if I have even the slightest show of blood, the 2-week clock resets. So that was effective Saturday. So far, I have had no more bleeding issues. Now, for moms, for women who are pregnant, so many of my friends are pregnant right now, and they've reached out to me and they're like, oh my God, what can I do to avoid this? So what I don't have is a placenta previa. For people who aren't familiar with it, when your baby's growing, your placenta, initially it may start off kind of low, but as your baby grows, the placenta will eventually move, and that's of course up your womb or whatever. With a placenta previa, which one of the issues with placenta previa is that it can result in preterm labor and things like bleeding. But with placenta previa, your placenta is low-lying, and sometimes it will cover your cervix, and that's not good at all, and it can lead to a lot of issues. I don't have that. They have been monitoring me for that for a few weeks now, so I don't have that. Even before this happened, I knew that wasn't the issue. Um, they also have not been able to identify what would be called a placenta abruption, where the placenta separates from the walls. So they haven't identified that yet. Now, with a placenta abruption, um, you have major abruptions. Actually, I don't know how many of you know this, but my sister was born premature. She was born at 6 months because our mother had a full placental abruption, meaning the placenta completely separated. And it was so bad that they had to carry her, transport her to the hospital in a body bag. That's how much blood she was losing. So a full placental abruption has the potential to be catastrophic to both mom and baby. So they haven't found any signs in my ultrasounds of a placenta abruption, but what they're saying is that with my bleeding, it has to be that my placenta has begun to separate, even if it's just slightly separate from the walls, which, so they're keeping me here so they can monitor and just make sure that it won't result in a full abruption, which nobody wants. So last week they started me on steroids to help Brandon's lungs develop, just in case it were to lead to any type of premature labor. So, but I'm not claiming that. So far everything is good. The doctors also say that sometimes this happens and nothing comes of it. I know a lot of people, thank you to all of you who have reached out to me, who went through it's very similar and nothing came of it. But I also know personally from, my own mother's experience that sometimes it can be really touch and go in a not good situation. So the thing about it is, either way, they can't tell. So that's why I have to stay here. With a placenta previa, they can kind of monitor, and at least they're aware and mindful of something that may possibly happen. But because I don't have previa, that's not the issue for me. But with a placenta abruption, it could happen at any point. Abruptions come, there's no sign, there's no warning, especially if you haven't had any trauma to your belly. There's no signs, there's no warnings, there's nothing. It just happens. So they are just trying to give my body the chance to, do what it needs to do to heal itself, the blood to clot, and whatever. So that's the story. I'm here. I'm making the best of it. I really want to just say and just stress how thankful I am for everyone who's reached out and shown genuine concern to both me and Justin. It really means a lot. There's so many people, I couldn't begin to name you all, but you know who you are. And every time you reach out, it keeps me optimistic. It keeps me motivated. I'm always going to remain prayerful in a situation, but I just want to let you know that taking the time to even check on me has made such a difference. So my phone has been ringing. My text messages have been blowing up. So I got to call some folks back and let them know as well that everything is okay. So I love you. I'm not sure how many times I'll update, but I'll be here for 2 weeks with nothing else to do anyway. But work my business and make video blogs. So you guys have a good day. Talk to you soon.